Okay, what's up, guys? Happy Monday. Hope you're all doing well. Chris Phillips here, the Daily Crow of the Spurs Up Show. What's going on? Appreciate you all tuning in. We have got a lot to get into here on this Monday. Let's see. I see Cocky Twan, John Rice, Justin, Travis Allen, Travis, Stephen Boardwell, Noah Johns. The whole crew is here. John Edward, Lance, Connor McCormish, Chase Floyd, Todd Smith. What's up? What's up? Appreciate you all tuning in, guys. Also in the Big Cock Club Discord. Head over to the TDC Questions channel, to be sure your questions are answered there. Again, guys, really excited to chat with you all. Of course, it is Monday, which means that former Gamecocks quarterback Stephen Garcia will join us on the airwaves very shortly. 12:15, he is set to join us here on this Monday. Again, thank you all so much for tuning in. We got a lot to get into. Content is rolling. Content, folks, is bleeding out of the eyeballs here. August the 1st, by the way. August the 1st. Just 33 days away from kickoff, and football is this month. Guys, we got football this week, by the way. For those of you who like the NFL, the Hall of Fame game is on Thursday, right? Jaguars and Raiders, I believe. I mean, if anybody's interested in watching the Jags and the Raiders play football, I guess you're set. But either way, there's football on the tube this week, and college football begins this month. It's right around the corner. Vandy headed to the islands. Nebraska's playing in Dublin. We got all kinds of games. Feels great, man. Football's back. Football is basically back. Fall camp begins this week for the Gamecocks as well. A lot of exciting stuff. Again, guys, we're taking your questions, your comments, your calls. 843-790-3377. Right now, guys, the phone lines are not open because we are gearing up for Stephen Garcia to join the show at 12:15. Luke Boyd, I am in the studio, my friend, just on the flip side. So the TV is right here above me. So what you saw, I guess Wednesday was the last show last week, which is crazy to think. What you saw on Wednesday was I was flipped around. Camera was looking this way, right? So now we're sitting at the desk right now. I'll just be switching it up. I really haven't decided what setup I want to go with. I've even thought about, what would be cool? But I've been carrying the flags with me to events and stuff like that, and we'll use them at tailgates. But I've thought about, even putting the flags right here, having them, drop down like this. So we're still playing with the setup. We're still playing around here in the studio. But either way, guys, appreciate you all tuning in. Really excited for today's show. Like I said, we've got Stephen Garcia jumping on the airwaves here very shortly. And excited to hear from you guys. Of course, as always, the Daily Crow brought to you by our friends over at Carolina Ale House. Check out your local Carolina Ale House location. They're located all across the state and even in Augusta, Georgia as well. Of course, we are on the TSUS tour right now, going to all the Ale House locations. I guess this is the first time we've talked on the Daily Crow since Wednesday of last week. So I want to shout out on my Myrtle Beach Gamecocks. I see a couple of you in here. My guy, Babes and Waves. I see Lance Player. Brian Lattimore, I know, is tuned in. I just want to say again, there were many more that came out, but thank you all so much for the love and support, man. We felt the love in Myrtle Beach. That was a blast, had a ton of fun, and can't wait to go back. I think we will certainly be back for a game this season, but I wanted to say thank you all, man. I had a really good time. Got to hit the beach on Friday as well, so it was a fantastic weekend and excited for the tour to continue as we are in downtown Greenville this week. And for very obvious reasons, I'm super excited for this one. First event in the new city, first event living in Greenville. I am very pumped for it. Downtown location, that downtown Greenville location is absolutely fire, by the way. So if you've never been out to it, come on out. If you're considering coming out, don't think anymore. Just come on out. Going to be a really good time. I'm expecting a great crowd on Thursday. Should be a lot of fun for sure. So again, the TSUS tour, it rolls on. All the details are on social media. And again, guys, thank you to all those who made Myrtle Beach such a success. And I'll tell you this, after each and every single one of these tour events, I'm going to be saying this, but it's such a blessing, man. It's so incredible. I'm so grateful for those that rock with TSUS and the brand and the business, to the point where you guys want to come out and show love and support. And we got people coming out rocking the merch, and of course, we're all talking ball, and it's a really fun thing, man. I would already say, we're only 2 stops in, right? We got 5 more to go. I'd already call this thing a massive success. I mean, it's just been absolutely incredible. But anyways, TDC is brought to you by our friends over at Carolina Ale House. Check out your local ale house location. They got over 65 beers on tap. Great food as well. It is your spot to watch anything Gamecocks, sports, anything else. That is the place to go. Again, that's our friends at Carolina Ale House, and we appreciate them, their love and support of TSUS. And again, big things coming. This is just the beginning of our partnership with Carolina Ale House. Matt Johnson, great to meet you, my friend. Also, guys, thank y'all so much for the love in regards to the merchandise side of the business and buying up the koozies and the towels when we have them, stuff like that. We should have the towels back. I should be picking up a new batch on Wednesday. We will have those for sale and on hand Thursday at the downtown Greenville location. That's what should happen. I hit up my merch guy today, and he told me that the towels are scheduled to be here and be delivered today, and they will be printed. I mean, those are very easy to print, he says. He can get them knocked out, whatever. Also, you can't see it, to my right are all of our towel orders that you have put in online. I just got a label printing machine. I'm going to be knocking these all out tonight. These will be shipped off no later than tomorrow. So if you have ordered towels or koozies online and you are waiting for those, do not fret. They are getting shipped out. I apologize for any of the delay, but we had to fulfill the orders. I had to get a label printing machine because I didn't have one, because it makes no sense for me to go to the post office to try to try to ship off all these, and you have all these individual packages, and it's just not an efficient method of shipping for the business or anything else. So, let's see. Babes and Waves, if your peeps want the koozies, send them the link, my guy. The link is on tsus.store. That is tsus.store. Just fire them off the link. We've got plenty for sale, my guy. Plenty for sale. Travis Allen said, I like the TV in the background. Travis, I'm just going to be switching it up, my guy. I appreciate it. The TV in the background's cool. Again, the TV's right here above me. One of the big reasons I didn't change it up, I wanted Garcia to be the focus of this. I don't know. I just... we've got this set up we're doing our season simulation series. I just did not feel like flipping everything around. But Travis, I'll be playing around with it, man. Maybe tomorrow we'll flip the setup back around. I don't know. And also I want to make some graphics for the TV for when it's in the background. So again, maybe tomorrow. It's just easy, honestly, sitting at the desk right here. But either way, the setup's going to change. The setup's going to be an ever-flowing thing. Maybe we'll never have a permanent setup. We'll just keep you on your toes. Travis, I'm just trying to keep you on your toes. That's what it is. Let's dive into a few questions. Again, guys, Stephen Garcia is going to join us at 12:15 here on this Monday. Michael Cavalier says, do you think the defense has the same production at minimum as last year, or do you think they'll take a step forward? Michael, I think all things considered, Shane Beamer has touted the defensive tackles as the strength of the defense, which he said that multiple times now. So it makes me feel like the run defense should be better. I mean, it would be something else if the run defense was the same, if it was as porous as it was last year, right? And he's touting the D tackles are the strength of the defense. That to me, the math wouldn't add up there. You lose Jalen Foster. How does Devontae Reed fill in? I'll put it this way. I think you're slightly better stopping the run. I'm not saying you're much worse, but I think you're slightly worse. I don't think you're top 10 in the country in pass defense again. I think the defense, all in all, will be about what it was last year, which was solid, by the way, which was very solid. I don't think it's an elite defense. I think it's a top 50 defense. I don't think it's an elite defense. I think it's about what it was last year, which should be good enough, though, with an improved offense to win 7 or 8 games. I don't think the defense, though, takes some massive step forward. Getting guys like you got over the weekend, like a Montec Rames, getting an edge guy like that, getting players like that should help. A couple of these linebackers you're going to be bringing in. But, I think when you look at the sum of all the pieces, I think when you come out, you're going to be kind of what you were last year, which, again, is really good, is a really quality product. I don't think, obviously I'm excited for the defense, but I just don't think there's some crazy step forward. I don't think we're all of a sudden a top 2 or 3 defense in the, in the SEC or anything. So, and again, that's not meant as a slight. It's just, I just don't think we're quite there yet. Let's see, guys, again, in just a couple of minutes, we are getting Stephen Garcia on the show. We are getting Stephen Garcia. Very excited because the Roach King now has a queen. We're going to be hearing that story much more, of course. We'll talk a little probably fall camp. We'll talk some recruiting. Huge recruiting weekend, by the way, for Shane Beamer and company. Great podcast dropped this morning, episode 683. I talk about the 4 commitments over the weekend. It was Hobbs, Rames, Anderson, and how do you say it? Shivers or Shivers? I don't know. Either way, 2 offensive linemen, a D end, and then a 2024 defensive back. All 4 of those guys. Also, we talked the Cameron Upshaw situation. He decommitted. How much does South Carolina still factor in? Will he end up still being a Gamecock? It's very possible that is the case. Also, of course, the opponent preview series rolls on as we talked the Missouri Tigers on today's show. A very intriguing team, right? Because you look at the job security of the SEC teams, there's a chance everybody's back. I think Drinkwitz might be the closest to the hot seat, though. Him and Harsin. I think he and Harsin might be the 2 closest to the hot seat. Either way, though, yes, Roach Rants on a Monday, Lance. Roach Rants on a Monday. Roach Rants on a Monday. And very excited, man. Again, very excited. The momentum is building. What a way to start off a new month, man. What a way to start off a new month. August the 1st, 2022. And again, guys, it's August. There's football in August. There's football in August. Cannot wait for that. Cannot wait. Again, we will be taking your questions after the Garcia interview. We will be taking your questions after the Garcia interview. Guys, again, thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you so much again for the continued love and support. Also, guys, something I'm working on right now. Just filled out the information this morning. And you guys can tell me if you, excuse me, love the idea, hate the idea, what have you. Either way, I think I'm going with the idea because I think it is something you guys are going to love. Obviously, tons of you tune in live to TDC, but I know there's many that catch the Daily Crow after the fact, right? Not everybody's free noon to 2 to tune in. Again, I really, truly appreciate those who do tune in live and call in and interact. You take your lunch break, what have you, and you listen to us. But again, I know there's many of you that tune in after the fact, and I know it's tough, obviously, to cut on YouTube or cut on Twitch or just try to pull up the video and be doing what you're doing, you know, your daily life and be having that pulled up. Well, all that being said, we are officially this week, it should be. By end of this week, we'll be rolling out the Daily Crow podcast feed. So literally what it's going to be a separate, unique podcast feed solely for the Daily Crow. It's just literally going to be the audio from this 2-hour show, and it's going to be put into like a podcast form, if you will. So it'll be available on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, everywhere that you can find podcasts, everywhere that you find currently TSUS. Again, it is not meant to replace the podcast, just as, I mean, now, obviously, this live show does not replace the podcast. The two are completely different things, completely separate entities. I don't feel like I really have to explain that to you all. This is just meant, again, to drive even more value into those who want to listen to the Daily Crow, because there's a lot of things we talk about on TDC that we don't talk about, right? That we don't talk about in the podcast. The podcast is much more, I would say, buttoned up, organized. I think organized is the best way to put it. The podcast is much more organized, whereas TDC, just wide open. I mean, we will have some of the most random conversations, some of the craziest calls. So, yeah, let me hit up Garcia here. I don't know what he's doing. Don't know what my old guy's doing here. Anyways, that will be rolling out this week, guys, the Daily Crow podcast feed. Brooke Odom, first time on TDC Live. Brooke Odom, appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much. Let's see. Brian Dean, looks like the plans for the business is gaining steam. Talking later, some potential partner. Which business, Brian? You talking about the restaurant? Isn't that you that's doing the restaurant, Brian? Isn't that you that's doing the restaurant? Hunter Rhodes. Who should we have an eye on for wide receiver 1? I mean, I think it's either Van or Wells. I look at them as 1A, 1B. I haven't seen Wells play at the SEC level, so it's really hard for me to label him as wide receiver 1, right? I mean, you got to put respect on what Josh Van did a season ago. A guy that, had over 600 receiving yards with a quarterback situation that was just a complete nightmare. So you would think with Spencer Rattler, his numbers are obviously going to jump. His numbers are obviously going to elevate. There's a lot of hype around Antoine Wells, a record setter at the FCS level. I want to see him against SEC competition first before I anoint him as the guy. And I'm sure there's many folks that will disagree, but I just think I think it's almost more of a situation where I just want to put respect on Josh Van's name. I really do. I really do. I want to put respect on Josh Van's name. Again, guys, we are waiting right now on Stephen Garcia. He just texted me. He said, yeah, my bad. I'm jumping on. So we're all good. Stephen Garcia jumping on right now. We're getting him on within the next probably minute or so. So you guys hang tight. Apologize for him being late. It is what it is. Again, this is a flowing thing, right? It's like I said, it's TDC. It's random. It's TDC, man. It's TDC. Andrew, what's up, man? Appreciate you tuning in. Again, guys, Stephen Garcia jumping on the airwaves within the next minute or so. I'm trying to get this tweet out. Let's see. There we go. Okay, he should be jumping on. Yeah, he's busy making his wedding plans. Kemper, appreciate you commenting, my man. Very excited to see you this week. Hey, get them out there, Kemper. Get all your Greenville Gamecocks out this week, my man. Get all your Greenville Gamecocks out this week. Let's do it. Let's do it, man. Let's throw a party. Let's throw a party. So, all right, cool. It looks like we've got Gar in the waiting room. So let's go ahead and bring him on here. The Roach King. What's up, man? What's going on?
How we doing?
I'm doing good, man. Just chilling. Just having a Monday, man. What's up with you?
Shit, same old thing, man. It's already been an expensive morning so far. Went to Home Depot and yeah, I need to buy stock in Home Depot for how much we spend money on there.
You're enhancing the Roach Ranch, I'd imagine.
Yep, and this was also pretty cheap.
Ah, the ring is on the Daily Crow. Yeah, you already know. We got to start with that. To hell with football and everything else.
Yeah.
First off, congratulations. Congratulations to the Roach King and the Roach Queen. We got to hear the story. What was the engagement? What was your did you do anything unique, different, special? Like what was the game plan there?
There was a game plan, and I kind of threw it away because it just wasn't our personalities. It's not mine, at least for sure. So she went school supplies shopping with my daughter, and I got the ring, and I was like, you know what, to hell with it. I'm doing when she gets back. So I told my son, I was like, hey, I need you to hide under the table and film this thing. And as soon as my daughter gets in and they start dropping off all the school supplies on the table, my daughter's like, Memphis, why are you under the table? What are you doing? And I was like, well, that sucks. So I was like, all right, well, you guys just go sit on the island. I'm just gonna do this. And I grabbed Masha, and I was like, hey. And she goes, what? And I went down on her knees. She's like, what are you doing? You're so random and this and that. And obviously, well, I don't know if it's obvious, but she's 100% Russian. So I had to look up and rehearse how to say, will you marry me in Russian? And I'm shaking even just telling the story, especially when she's right here. But it was very nerve-wracking, to say the least. Coach Beamer actually literally just texted me, and he says, you're engaged?
Hey, yeah. Congratulations. We got the here we got the sound effects here. Congratulations, Stephen Garcia. Again, the Roach King, Roach Queen. We're very happy for you. It's going to be one hell of a wedding, I'm sure. And dude, you know what I love about that story is that I feel like that fits you very well because it goes back to your playing style. You can call whatever play you want, but I feel like Stephen Garcia is best when it's just drawn up in the sand and we improvise. I mean, look at your drills. Some of these I remember talking to Perry. He's like, some of these drills, I'm just like, where do these come from? But that's you. That's it.
Just make them up, man. It's
just make it up as you go along. That's it.
Right. That's right. Dude, and it works. It works.
Yeah, the best things are born organically like that, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, and I was texting back and forth with like some of her best friends, like asking like plans, and they were like, "Yeah, you need to get, I got a guy it's a big will you marry me signs and stuff." I was like, I'm not doing that. And so I ended up doing it right in our living room. And the point of that was, I just wanted to every single time she opens that door, she remembers that scene. That's the first thing I want her to think about when she opens the front door.
Bro, you are a romantic, man. I'm extremely happy for you. Seriously, again, congratulations. And I know it took everybody a little bit by surprise, but again, dude, I'm extremely happy for you and dude, excited. Have you got a date in mind for the wedding? Have you thought that far ahead or no?
Not really. Probably next fall.
You're going to go during football season.
No, I'm like winter, I guess I should say.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not during the season.
Right. I was like, I know Garcia knows better than that. It's funny. My sister is getting married the Saturday of the Kentucky game this season. So,
oh wow.
Yeah. Her fiance is a Clemson grad. She's a USC grad, and they're getting married this Saturday. Thank God it's in Lexington. So I mean, if it was a home game, I'd be really sweating. But the wedding's at 5:30. I'm praying for a noon kickoff because I'd rather just get it out of the way. You know, I don't want to be the guy at the reception. 7:00 kick. I'm sitting at the reception just like locked in the phone, like don't talk to me. I mean, I will be if I have to be. But I like that. I'm praying like that never happens, right? But like I'm praying for a noon kickoff. Like something I never thought I'd say.
Exactly.
Right.
No, I did the same thing. I was I guess it was Perry's wedding, and I'm sitting there with Hayden Hurst and a couple of other guys, and I'm sitting there looking at my phone watching the Lightning game and the playoff game, and of course everybody, I was gambling and betting everybody, and well, I forgot what the kid's name is, but he ended up he still owes me $150 now. I think about it. I got to text Perry and
call him out. Call him out. Oh man. Well, dude. Anyways, congratulations. I'll ask you, how's on that note, how's quarterback training been going? Obviously, I see all your stuff, and I guess you and Ace are doing something coming up, right?
Yeah. Well, we just did a camp down in Bradenton on Friday, and the week before we did a camp at my house. It's awesome. Ace he knows what the hell he's talking about, obviously, and the kids receive him well. He's awesome what he does. He's basically kind of the same way as me. He talks shit and like he'll get his hands dirty and run the routes and kind of show him how it's done. And I'm the same way. And it's a pretty good relationship.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how is Ace doing, man? It's crazy. I had him on the show a couple years ago. I think it was fall of 2019. And I tell people, and I'll say it again right here, that if you have not listened to that interview, like I was fanboying talking because it's like you're reliving like the best moments with the guy who did it. And
right.
Like, I mean, same thing as the first time I talked to you. Now it's just like you're just a slapdick, so I don't really give a damn. No, but you're like reliving all these best moments. And again, I would tell people like hearing him talk about like these punt returns and the vision and like the way the game slowed down is just like it's insane. But I feel like Gamecock fans haven't really heard from Ace Sanders a whole lot since he left Columbia. I know he had his thing with the Jags and how his NFL career went, but he's a guy, man, I feel like he's so underrated because he played with like Alshon and Bruce, but like, bro, Ace Sanders was a hell of a receiver.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I still, to this day, I think he's probably the quickest human being I've ever seen. Like, I remember throwing a slant to him our very first practice, his first practice. I threw a slant, and, I have a decently quick release, and he's already like 15 yards down the field as I'm getting ready to throw. I'm like, holy shit, this son of a bitch can run. We'll have to get him on. We'll get him on here. I'm sure he'd be down for that.
Yeah, Ace is a legend, man. Like I said, when I had him on, he was such a cool dude and such a great human being. I was gonna say, dude, I don't know if you saw this, but last week, one of your former teammates, I feel like he tried to kind of one up you, man. We were hot last week. We had you. Then the following day, we had Kelsey Quarles. It really set up a tough Wednesday because I was like, guys, I don't know who's gonna call in that could top what we just did early in the week, but. No, it was super cool. I don't know if you heard the interview, but Kelsey was an awesome dude. Obviously, I know a teammate of yours, but I just thought that was a neat thing.
No, he's a good dude for sure. What I haven't talked to him. I got to reach out to him. I haven't talked to him in forever. What's he doing now?
I don't know exactly what he's doing, but he might be tuned in right now. He tunes into this show a good bit because he likes the page on Facebook, and I think we're actually Facebook friends. And I've got his number, and we've tried to set up a conversation, for forever, but he's obviously been busy. And last week, he just decided to just randomly call in, and we chatted for like 20 minutes, and I took the audio, put it on the podcast. But
that's awesome.
Kelsey's a good dude. Yeah, Kelsey's a good dude, man. That was a great conversation. I appreciate him doing that.
For sure.
But, hey, back to the quarterback training. We talked about, again, I don't know if people have seen any of your footage or, obviously I went out to one of you guys' camps last year. But what's you have some very like off-the-wall drills, and I feel like you put a lot of emphasis on – quarterback getting outside the pocket, making uncomfortable throws, like almost like the Patrick Mahomes-esque type of see a lot of the sidearm and like what's your favorite drill? What's like your go-to that you're like, we have to do this one? Like this is it.
So I got this in my backyard I have this like a little baby oak tree. So We call it the tree of life, and we just dance around that thing. And I just do all sorts of crazy shit with it. It's hard to explain, but yeah, to your question, I love doing the off platform. One of my favorite sayings in quarterback training and in life in general is get comfortable being uncomfortable. I read that in No Easy Day, or The Easy Day was yesterday. One of the, I forgot the title of the book, but it's about the Navy SEALs, like their whole training regimen and everything. And that's what the game has turned into. I mean, you see the Tom Brady's of the NFL. It's a dying breed. That's just what it is. There's obviously he's still the GOAT, and he always will be. But you got to be able to make plays with your feet. You got to be able to, make a throw while you're getting hit. Don't see the pressure, feel the pressure is what I always tell these guys. So you're always keeping your eyes downfield. And to be honest, man, I wish I was doing this shit when I was actually playing. I feel like I would have been a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, because I mean, I feel like with the drills you have, like you're planning for the pressure. Like you said, you are prepared for the worst case scenario. So that, I mean, I always loved, I had a coach, it was baseball, obviously, but I had a coach that, you make the practices hell so the game is easy. So I feel like when you're doing stuff like you're doing, like, I mean, God forbid you have a clean pocket, it's going to be like nothing, like just 7-on-7.
Exactly. Exactly. One of the things that pisses me off more than anything is seeing guys warm up with the towels and like doing drills with towels in their hand. I'm like, what are you doing? When I start doing that, if you ever see me post a video with me posting with guys training with a towel, I've lost my freaking marbles.
the Roach King is no more.
No, yeah, I'm finished. I'm zapped.
Oh yeah. So Garcia, fall camp gets going this week. Players report Thursday. Camp gets going Friday, and we all get excited, right? Because football is back. Obviously, it's August. Football is officially back. By the way, are you a Jags guy? You're a Bucks guy, right? You're a Bucks guy?
No, I'm not a huge NFL guy.
No, not an NFL. Okay. Well, anyways, the Jags play Thursday, whatever. I wouldn't blame you if you didn't claim the Jaguars. But anyways, football gets going. Camp gets going for South Carolina. We're all excited because it means ball is back. And I know the players get excited too, but fall camp's a grind. I mean, it is a grind. Were you playing when two-a-days were still a thing?
Oh, yeah.
Or no? Yeah. So and obviously, so they don't do that anymore. Like they don't.
I know.
I don't even think it's allowed.
It's not.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Because again, it's like players now have no clue about the whole two-a-days practices.
It's so soft, but you can say that about this entire freaking world right now. Everybody's just softer than baby shit. It drives me freaking crazy. But yeah, I mean, those 2 days in fall camp absolutely sucked. I mean, there was nobody on campus. It was just headbutting against your teammates for, I think it was like 15 straight days, and it was miserable.
Yeah. But it gets going Friday, and I mean, I've seen some of like the schedules and stuff. It is. I know by the end of it, players are like, bro, I'm so glad camp's about to be over.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the worst.
No, it was. I remember talking with Wesley Saunders, and I was like, dude, it's like freaking Groundhog Day. Like, this is miserable. It's the same shit every single day. And I was like, God, this sucks, man. I just want to go freaking hit somebody else.
Yeah. I feel like Spurrier got the label of like the practices under him were easy. Is that unfair? Like,
no, that's not unfair at all. At the first sign of a raindrop, he's like, all right, shit, we're going into the bubble. I'm going to the bubble. So the bubble was the indoor facility when I was there.
Right.
And if there was a lightning strike, he's like, all right, practice is over. We're done. And he'd go and but I mean, during the practices, it was not easy, but like I said, he did make it fun, and I think that's what Coach Beamer saw. Obviously, his dad is one of the Hall of Fame coaches as well, so he's been around it. He knows what to do and how players respond to certain practices. I would imagine, I know obviously didn't play for Muschamp, but I would imagine that Spurrier's practices were probably a little bit less tense than Coach Muschamp's.
Yeah. I mean, that's at least what I've heard. I mean, as far as the I mean, when you say physicality, like it makes it sound bad, but it just Spurrier obviously was not interested in the idea of getting his offensive guys hurt. I just wasn't gonna. I mean, I've heard all those stories from Norwood, and Norwood. I mean, he laughs about it. Like, yeah, we were knocking the shit out of those guys in practice, and
there was a fight.
Called the practice early and everything.
Oh yeah, no, I mean there was a fight every single practice for fall camp. I remember Justin Sorensen. That's a blast from the past name.
Yeah.
But he literally would fight against Norwood. He'd fight against Clifton Gathers. He'd fight against Travian Robertson. Literally every single practice. And for it to be like a 10-minute scuffle, it's like, God, Justin, man, can we just get this shit over with? Like, come on, man, you don't have to do it. He's like, "Nah, we got to get these guys tough. We got to do this." I was like, "All right, man. Well, you're a big ass Canadian, so fuck it, let's go."
Big village idiot guy too. From what I've heard.
Oh my God, the biggest,
grapevine.
the biggest.
Village idiot stock.
Oh my
Village
God.
idiot stock, dude. Hey, by the way, we got John Strickland in the chat. Shout out to John. He's talking about the Lou Holtz practices. John, we know Holtz was a different animal. They're running the wishbone in practice and all that. So
Oh my God.
yeah, completely different. Talking about the two-a-days. Dude, I've heard some of the funniest stories from like Andy Boyd. Did you were there with
Yeah.
Andy for a year?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Dude, Andy was at South Carolina for like 17 years.
Oh,
literally.
I know.
Yeah. He was like 26 as a senior.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but no,
Well, does he have any knees left or no?
I don't know. I guess he does because he's walked up on stage and sat down with me and talked about football. So
he's awesome, man. He is a football guy. Like he is the epitome of a football player. I love
Andy's
Andy.
The guy. Awesome. You put a mic. He should have his own podcast because you put a mic in front of him, he will just go. Like,
oh yeah.
There's some guys I'll get on the show. It's like they don't really like to talk a whole lot, and there's some guys kind of in the middle. There's just some guys you just throw up the alley oop and they just run with it like 7 minutes, like just uninterrupted. Nah, dude. I mean, we're all excited for fall camp, obviously, and the momentum and the hype is building. You know, you look at recruiting over the weekend. I'm sure it's something where, Steven, I don't know how much attention you're paying to recruiting. I know it's a lot of moving pieces and everything, but a huge recruiting weekend. I don't feel like it should be a surprise for Beamer to have success in recruiting the way he is. And just from what what we're hearing through the grapevine, there's a lot of people saying that, South Carolina should finish top 15 in recruiting. At least that's how they feel if they get the guys they want and they feel like they're going to get. But again, I just when Beamer was hired, I wasn't really worried about recruiting just because of what he did before in Columbia and
exactly
his infectious mentality and attitude and the positive. But the amount of momentum they have right now, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy, dude. They're making Carolina, I feel like, a cool place to go play again.
Well, it is. It is. And it's night and day different from I was just up there with the Day Chaser deal, but it's night and day different from when I was there. The facilities, I mean, just everything is just it's top of the line, and that's that's what you have to have in this day and age as far as recruiting guys. That and a empty checkbook, I guess. It irritates me so much seeing how much some of these guys are getting paid. It's like, God, I was born too early.
Yeah, no, I know we talked in IL last week, but it's funny you talked the bubble earlier, and I mean it's just wild when you look at the bubble and like what they have now. I mean, it's just
no,
wild.
Yeah, I was hanging out with Jared, and he's like, yeah, man, we don't even go to the stadium, like the locker room, except for game days. Like we don't even go in there. It's like, holy shit, man. I remember taking my piece of shit moped with no muffler. I remember driving that thing to the stadium with no helmet on, and Miss Spurrier was giving me shit about it. She's like, you need to put a helmet on.
I feel like you were known around Cola for the moped. I feel like that was a thing. That was a staple.
For sure. I love that damn thing.
Yeah. Do you still have the same moped?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's so I actually got the first one I bought from Ike Crowfoot with no muffler.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That thing tapped out. I mean, I'm surprised the thing even ran for as long as it did. And then I got a Yamaha Zuma, a 50cc one, and that one got freaking stolen. So then I bought this other one, and I actually still have it. So yes, I do have the same one I had in college.
I love that. That's incredible. A moped. It's a good way to get around town. Really.
It's the only way.
And then I guess you got the golf cart too, right? Because I see all the Instagram, like you going and picking up your kids from school in a golf cart and no shirt.
Yep. And I catch shit from the principal every single time. He's like, you got to put a shirt on, man. I was like, why? It's Florida. It's heat. It's hot.
Yeah. Not when you're a roach, you don't.
Exactly. No, I was just thinking, I probably have like close to $3,000 in parking tickets that I still owe the city of Columbia. They will never, ever get that. Never.
Let's just put that out there. Let's just make that public knowledge. Just so y'all know, Cola, if you're listening, there you go.
Yeah. You'll never catch me. You will never get me.
Oh my God, dude. Oh my God. Hey, let's talk recruiting again. We talked recruiting for a second. I want to get your take on this because Brad Lawing has very strong opinions on this, and Brad Lawing's got a lot of strong opinions on a lot of things. But the way recruiting has changed, because I was thinking about this morning, and like I think I've told you this, but I remember when you committed and your interview dropped and everything. It was a very big deal. But now recruiting, the way like announcements happen, and not even that, but like the commitment graphics and the offer lists and your take on, because I'm sure you coach a lot of guys that obviously are putting up stuff. Like, do you say anything to that? Because that's just become a thing. Like guys are putting up like offer lists and top 12s. I'm like, what is the point of a top 12? Like,
it's baffling. But it's kind of like I was saying earlier, everybody, it's all about you. You know, it's all about me.
right.
Perry would get a kick out of that. He's like me. And Brandon Nosovich. That's a little inside joke, but but no, you're right, man. It's like, why are you doing that? Who gives a shit? Just commit and be done. Like I had guys that, I mean, it's almost gotten down to kids are doing that in high school now. Like, yeah, I'm transferring to so and so high school. I
have seen that.
Yeah. Would tag me, and I was like, dude, get my name off of that. I do not want to be associated with you committing to a fucking high school. Like, that is a joke to me.
Yeah. A lot of guys who go to IMG do that. They'll make an announcement. Yeah, like who gives a shit? like
it's high school, man. It's literally high school. Go do that in college, or
right.
At the same time, it's like it's your brand, and people are getting paid for their brand now. So I get it. It's a double-edged sword. I personally think it's kind of stupid, but get money while you can, I guess, right?
Yeah, I know for sure. And one of my favorites, I mean, Coach Lawing, again, he said this, and I think if it hurts your feelings, so be it. But when he talked about, I don't know if you saw this last year, I'm not going to name names, but guys that are, I guess because maybe they had a COVID year or whatever, but like they're seniors, but they're announcing like, I'm coming back to school. And Coach Lawing's like, where are you going to go? You're not getting drafted. I mean,
right.
You're either coming back or you're not playing football anymore. It's just like, yikes. But everybody wants, like you said, everybody wants like, look at me, like I'm back. Like, well, where are you gonna go?
Yeah.
I mean,
I should have done that after each suspension. I should have said, hey, I'm coming back, guys.
It's like, where else am I gonna go? Hey,
suspension's over. I'm coming back, everybody.
Yeah, I'm back, dude. I was going to ask, though, did you have any special ceremony for your commitment? Did you do anything like at the high school? Or?
Yeah, no. So we, that's, people still do that, which I think is pretty cool. But yeah, I did a little, like all the local news people were here. A couple of South Carolina stations were over there because everybody kind of knew that I was committed there. But I just did something at our school library, and yeah, it was kind of simple. It was easy.
Do you think there's ever been a college football player that's had a longer leash than you when it comes to like suspensions? Like how genuinely, how do you get suspended 5 times? Like that's a lot. That's a lot.
Well, it's a shit pile. I was telling the story with a couple other parents. It's like, I wasn't doing anything that was like that bad. I was being a freaking college kid. I wasn't beating the shit out of women. I wasn't, doing hard drugs. I wasn't fighting anybody, wasn't stealing, wasn't doing any of that shit. I was just partying like a rock star. And, I look back and it's like, I wish somebody would by the freaking neck and would have said, you need to calm the fuck down. And the only problem is when people try to do that, I have a tendency to go the other way and be even more extreme. So, I mean, I can tell you this, I'm definitely the most drug tested NCAA player of all time. Like any sport, any level, anything. I'm 100%.
I mean, they were testing you for alcohol, right?
Yeah.
That's insane.
I know.
That's insane. I mean, that's insane. The great Eric Hyman.
it's remarkable, but live and learn.
Yeah, I mean, it's in your defense. I will say that, like, why do you think they were so hard on you? Like, and it's like, there's some people that go through life and they just do whatever and like they never get caught. Right. And then there's some people they can't help but get caught. Like,
I mean, when I pulled the fire alarm or the fire extinguisher at what the hell, I forgot the name of the place, East Quad, where we all used to live. one of my buddies was, or one of my roommates, old teammates, Clark Gadsden, was pretending to like shoot me with it. And I said, "Oh, you think that's funny?" So I grabbed it and freaking fired it off at him. And I had no idea. Have you ever shot a fire extinguisher?
I have not.
It looked like it looked like Chernobyl. I mean, it was a disaster. And I did it in the hallway, and they had to evacuate the whole freaking building. So the cops and the fire department were there, and they're like, "Well, what the hell happened?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I was just dicking around and pulled the fire extinguisher." And the lady looked at me. She goes, "Why did you just tell me that?" I was like, "Why? What's the big deal?" They're like, "I have to report it now." So they reported it, and I was like, "All right, well, you're kicked off campus, so you have to live off campus." I was like, "Wait a minute, you're going to pay for me to live off campus? I should have done this as soon as I got here. This is a no-brainer." It was
They're
awesome.
like, Steven, just lie.
Yeah.
Just lie. God.
Yeah.
God, dude.
It is what it is, man.
Yeah.
It's just who I am. I'm the roach.
I mean, you live and you learn. You're the roach. You're the roach. Can't kill it. Can't kill it. What'd you say last week? The only two things that'll be left on this earth when
roaches and Twinkies.
Yeah, that's it. You can't kill him. You can't kill them all. Dude, it is so funny though, man. Like looking back at your career. Hey, and you know what I think gets overshadowed about your career? I know we got a couple minutes left. That you're undefeated against Clemson. I feel like that should get more pub. More. I know it's so funny because you and I have talked off air, and you're like, I don't get these Clemson people chirping me on social media. It's like I never lost it.
Yeah.
Why are you talking to me?
Yeah,
Like,
I love playing Clemson. It was an automatic win, basically.
I mean,
Especially doing it up there was the best, man.
Oh, dude, yeah,
Being
that was
in their own place.
Yeah, that was an ass kicking. That was the 2010 game was a domination. I was thinking both years.
Yeah.
09, and you started the 5-game winning streak. So
Yep. Hopefully we get back to that, man, because
I was gonna say we got to snap that one. We got.
Yeah, they've had our number pretty regularly recently.
Yeah. Did you get some warm and fuzzy feelings? I don't know if you recall this specific play last year, but I really thought about you, man, in the Auburn game when Jason Brown hit Trey Jones out of the backfield. He was at the fullback spot. They did the little fullback kind of whatever the play is. I don't know what exactly the play is called. You would obviously know, but hit the fullback in the flat. And he scored a touchdown. I was like, that's the DeMarco play.
Yep.
That's it.
Patty D, man. Yeah, I was supposed to meet up with him. Speaking of Pat, when I was up there last weekend or 2 weeks ago, just passed it in cross. But yeah, man, he's a wild man. He's a legend for sure. Yeah. I think he's very underrated player as well.
Was a 2-star coming out of high school, I think, and just balled out.
Yeah, I'll never forget, man. I'm sure he doesn't want to hear me telling this story. But when we were roommates, we bring. I'm sure Masha doesn't want to hear this story either, but we bring girls back to the apartment, and he was like, "Hey, you want to watch my high school highlight tape?" And I was like, "Dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor." No. And I was like, "Pat, no, not again. Not again.
Not again." Just like a weekly thing. Just like,
yeah. I'm sure he's gonna text me like, "Dude, why do you gotta tell that story, man? Of all stories, you tell that one." He's got plenty of dirt on me though, so I'm sure it all comes around.
What was the soundtrack to your highlight tape?
Shit, I don't even know. I don't even know if I had one, to be honest with you.
Oh, come on. You didn't have a high school highlight tape?
Not that I made. Not that I know of. I might have to look. My parents may have a little copy or something. I honestly don't remember. Was there a highlight tape you enjoyed watching, like on YouTube? Like I know, like for that era. I mean, I guess I was gonna say when we were in school, because I was in college same time you were, like watching like Tavon Austin and like Pat Wright, like the West Virginia guys, like that's the craziest. Steve Slayton, like those are like the craziest highlight tapes you'd ever seen. Like, you left out the biggest one, freaking Noel Devine.
Yeah, Devine.
Yeah. I played with him in Montreal my second year up there.
Dude, I almost forget that you even went to Canada.
Oh, I know. I do too sometimes. But it's funny. I still get emails from him like, "Hey, you want to come to the Grey Cup? These are your alumni, or like alum." Yeah, I think they called me alumni. They're your alumni prices. I was like, "No, I'm not going to the fucking Grey Cup. I'm good. I'm good on that. Thank you though."
You and Sorensen can go party it up.
Oh my god, I can only imagine partying with Sorensen right now. It'd be a shit show for sure.
Just need an alumni weekend at Village Idiot. Sounds like
for sure.
So, We might just I feel like we're just going to shout out Village Idiot like every week on the show. So
We should.
But hey,
We should.
well worth it. Well worth it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I told Brian, I was like, dude, I feel so bad. I feel like I need to write you like a $10,000 check for all the amounts of booze that I drank over the years over there. He's like, dude, I should pay you. Like, you have no idea. That was the busiest and the most fun times like we've ever had at this place. I was like, well, I can imagine.
Yeah, for sure. Steven, this has been a pleasure, man. We could go all day. I'm gonna go ahead and get you out of here. Next week, we might have to dive in a little bit deeper into your Canadian Football League career. I feel like there's probably some stories from those days that we probably haven't heard quite as in depth and in detail. It's hard for me to imagine the Roach navigating the tundra of Canada.
Oh man, especially Montreal, the French Canadians, man. It was, yeah. I got to make sure Masha's not here for those stories.
Yeah, for sure. Steven, appreciate you, man. Hey, we'll do it again next week. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much, my guy.
Hell yeah, man. Absolutely, man. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, man. Take care.
See you.
Awesome. Great stuff, dude. Steven Garcia, a legend every single time. It's always a pleasure. I mean, just hilarious conversation. And again, congratulations. Let's do it one more time for the Roach King and the Roach Queen, their engagement. Very excited to see when the wedding will be and very happy for those two. So anyways, guys, hey, we're going to go and jump into our first break. On the other side, though, we are beginning to take your questions, your comments, your calls here on the Daily Crow. Again, appreciate you all tuning in. We got a packed house. Steven Garcia every single Monday. Hey, what a start of the week. What a start of the month. More of your questions, comments, calls, and more on the other side of the break, guys. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back taking your questions, your comments, your calls as well. 843-790-3377. Again, we appreciate Steven Garcia for taking the time to chat today. If you missed that, you can catch it later today here on YouTube, wherever else. Again, guys, this is another reason why I'm creating the Daily Crow podcast feed, so that if you miss a conversation like Steven's or any of our other interviews we have on TDC, you can go back and listen to those. Great stuff from the legend is Steven Garcia. Hey, let's get into, I'm going to go ahead and open up the phone lines here. Here we go. The phone lines are now open. Would love your questions, your comments, and your calls. John Gibbs, yes, I indeed did move to Greenville, South Carolina. Yes, I did. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, you think about how great these combos have been. Imagine when we actually have football to talk about. Like how awesome that's going to be when we have on-field football to talk about. Cody says, won't be able to make it to the tour Thursday. Cody, well, that's okay. We will be back in Greenville, as you probably just saw on the graphic, Thursday, August the 18th. So if you cannot come out this week to downtown Greenville, we'll be back at the Woodruff Road location on August the 18th. Very excited for both of those. Obviously excited for this week in downtown. But again, if you cannot make this week, do not fret. We'd love to see you out there August 18th at the Woodruff Road location. Here we go. Let's get into your questions. Jeff Gullidge says, back to Josh Vann. I feel like Vann will have a good year, but not great because he will be double covered almost every game. Plus, with the addition of Wells, Rucker, and Stodner, plus Bell and the running backs, he just won't get as many touches. You know, I mean, I think teams are going to have to pick their poison. Oh, let's see if this. Will, what's going on? How are you? I'm doing well. Appreciate you. Hey, you're a little bit choppy on our end, my guy. Hey, do me a favor. Try to call back in. I don't think it's us. It might be us, but I think it might be your reception. Yeah. Just hang up and call back in, my guy. Hang up and call back in. I don't think it's us because our audio is just catching audio as normal. If somebody else wants to call in, we'll figure out if it was us. Rebecca, what's going on? Appreciate you tuning in. AJ Bauer says, Chris, it's finally football season. I mean, basically it is, man. When you get into August, we got fall camp starting on Friday. Shane Beamer will speak to the media on – let's try this again.
Call from
– Here we go.
Will from Dirty Myrtle.
Yep. Will, much better, my man. What's going on?
Sweet. Must have been that Apple technology I had my AirPods in.
Either that or the Muschamp Packers. Yeah, I'm doing well, man. Appreciate you asking. Hey, first things first, I want to say thank you for you coming out to the event last week. It was great to meet you. Obviously, the legend that is Will from Dirty Myrtle, and I had a blast, man. I thought Myrtle Beach was a massive success, so I appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to see you, man. Did you get you a good beach day in?
It was solid. Yeah, had a good time, man. Had a good time. So the 4-hour drive back to Greenville really hit on Friday night, but no, it was a good time, man. I had a blast. I was so happy to come up there, and I definitely want to come back for a game.
Absolutely. Just wondering, first off, great weekend recruiting, huh? Yesterday was big, day before, getting those 2 4 stars, big lineman. Do you know anything or heard anything about the Arbor kid and when he might commit? Because I've seen some stuff. You know, he posted the thing on Twitter with the "Is This Home" thing. I didn't know if you heard anything else about him or not.
I have not heard any official word on like a set date or anything like that. I have not heard anything, to be honest with you.
I got you. I mean, have you seen how much of a freak that kid is?
I haven't watched his film, but I know he's the #1 player in the country. So I would imagine I would imagine he's a stud. I mean, it would be a huge pull, obviously, to get him.
I don't know if you saw the video that went viral a while ago of the kid that was like 6'5" that was outrunning everybody on the track when there was like a track video.
Right.
That's the kid.
Oh, okay.
He has like the 4th fastest 100 time in high school history. He runs like a 10.36 100, and he's 6'5". So I mean, just an absolutely insane athlete, and would be a huge get. But anyway, yeah, just wanted to call and say, man, it was nice meeting you officially this time, yeah, hopefully we can get you back here for a game, maybe the Florida game or something. Be nice.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like I said, I loved the venue. Obviously, the Myrtle Beach Gamecocks, you guys showed up and showed out, and I had a blast. So I definitely am, we'll be setting the watch party schedule for the season pretty soon. And I think that, I think Myrtle Beach should be on the list, man. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
For sure, man. All right, bro. I'll call you. I'll holler at you later, man.
All right. Appreciate you, Will. Thanks so much, my friend. Great stuff. And again, thank you so much to the Myrtle Beach Gamecocks. I keep saying it, but I had never been to Myrtle, at least that Carolina Ale House Myrtle location. I hadn't been to Myrtle Beach in like 7 years. But go into that location, first time ever, and feeling the love from the crowd. It was awesome. It was awesome. So, anyways, guys, 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. John Gibbs says, going to miss you back home in Gamecock country. Spread the garnet and black up there in Cowtown. See, John, I'll say this, though. And again, I don't want to spend too much time talking about Greenville and where I'm living, but like, I will say, I feel like there's this misconception that Greenville is just like painted orange. And I mean, I haven't lived up here yet during football season. I will experience that firsthand. But like, I've been downtown like twice, and I didn't really get the feeling that it was like a Clemson town. I understand where we are, where we're located, but there's a lot of Gamecocks up here. Like, there's a ton of Gamecocks. So, I mean, it's not like I'm living in Clemson. Like, it's not like I'm living in Anderson, right? Like, Greenville, I feel like I haven't felt any sort of, any type of way, really. I feel like it's fine. So, either way, though, appreciate you, John. Thank you for tuning in. And I will say, by the way, quick update, quick reminder, we will be back in the City of Dreams, though, Wednesday. I will be in Columbia, the final Tin Roof show, at least the way we have it set up on Wednesdays. I'm not saying that we'll never go live at Tin Roof or do a show at Tin Roof ever again. But the final of the Wednesday installments at Tin Roof, 6 to 8, Tin Roof in the Vista in downtown Columbia. We will be live. The final one, the final time that I grace the stage on a Wednesday night this week, 6 to 8. Would love to have you guys come out in person. Obviously, we will be streaming it live like we always do, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, all that good stuff. But going to be an emotional night. I know it is going to be an emotional night. And, I'm very excited for it, obviously, to knock it out the park one more time and hang out with the Tin Roof guys and looking forward to it. So, again, guys, the final one. If you want to catch us live at Tin Roof, come on out, 6 to 8, Tin Roof in the Vista. Brian Deal asked, Chris, was the move business-related or just a change of scenery? Brian, all the above. And again, I've talked about this a lot on the show. I'm not going to get into every single detail of why I moved. There was a multitude of reasons. But business growth played a factor. Personal growth played a factor. Just a change of scenery played a factor. Taking advantage of unique flexibility within the business played a factor. But again, guys, as I've told you all before, and I've hammered down this point, you're not even going to notice. You're not even going to notice in regards to like the content. Like, the podcast isn't going to change. TDC is not going to change. We're still going to be at every single football game. We're still going to do our watch parties. The only thing that's really going to be different is, obviously, I won't be at nearly every single basketball or baseball game. I mean, outside of, but like, the content will continue. The coverage will continue. Outside of that, you're not even going to notice anything that's different. So it was a personal decision, business decision. Again, there's layers of reasons why I did it. But I tell you this, I've only been here about a week and a half or so. It hadn't been that long, and I'm loving it. Honestly, I'm loving it, man. I'm so happy. I'm super excited. Feel almost like re-energized and just excited for everything we got going on. Let's see. Ken's Bins. What do the Ale House visits consist of? Q&A type thing. Yeah, so Ken's Bins, it's really just a night for fellowship, hanging out, talking Gamecocks. What I have been doing is I've got my speaker and microphones, and we have been doing like a Q&A session around 7 or 7:30, somewhere in there. And we go for about 30, 45, maybe an hour, right? Just talking Gamecocks, doing a Q&A, and we've got 2 microphones, so we pass the mic around anybody that wants to ask questions. Basically, it's almost like a TDC Live. We don't stream it or anything, but we do take part in a Q&A session at these Ale House events. But really, again, it's just a night meant to interact and fellowship and hang out with great Gamecocks. And also, we have merchandise available, the koozies and the towels, stuff like that. And just a night for us to all hang out and get fired up for Carolina football, right? So Ken's Bins, that's what you can expect. But again, I have been doing like a Q&A because, hey, we're all there to talk football, and we all love talking Carolina football. And yeah, so that's what we've been doing. Let's see. Chris Cox, appreciate you, my man. Hey, Chris, I don't know if you'll be there, but we will be in Augusta at Carolina Ale House. We'll be in Augusta. That is next week. Actually, next week. We got downtown Greenville this Thursday. August the 11th will be – no, excuse me. That's wrong. August the 11th is Fort Mill. The 18th will be Woodruff Road. The 25th will be Augusta. 25th will be Augusta. I'm getting my dates confused here. Let's see. Anyways, guys, taking your questions, comments, calls. Huge recruiting weekend for Shane Beamer and company. 4 welcome homes, 3 for the 2023 class, and 1 for the 2024 class. By the way, when I say that, I'm not really even talking about how many times did Beamer tweet welcome home. At this point, a commitment is a welcome home. So there were 4 welcome homes this weekend. You had Hobbs, the defensive back. You had Rames, the defensive lineman. Marquis Anderson, the O-lineman. And then Jatavius, I'm going to say Shivers, the O-lineman as well. Obviously, I think Anderson, the big one, he becomes the highest rated commitment. Obviously, it's very early in Shane Beamer's tenure in Columbia, but he is the highest rated commitment to this point for Beamer. And, I think what you're seeing, obviously, you look at South Carolina's roster right now and their depth chart and their needs and offensive line of scrimmage is certainly up there. But I think they understand, guys, I've said it many times and I'll say it again. Football, the more it changes, the more it stays the same in the sense of what's important and what wins ball games. You can have, for the most part, every SEC team has playmakers. Every SEC team has talented players at the skill positions. But the difference in Alabama and Vanderbilt, and certainly they've got more of those guys, right, at the skill positions, Bama does than Vandy. But the difference between the elites and the good and the average and the below average, it's the line of scrimmage and the depth they have up front on both sides of the football. And I think that's what you're seeing from Shane Beamer in recruiting, getting a guy like Marquis Anderson, trying to get a guy like Tree, getting a guy like Shivers, getting that size up front. Kelsey Quarles talked about it last week, right? Having the size you need to win in the trenches at the defensive tackle position. You need it on the offensive side as well. You got to have those guys. It doesn't matter how many 4 and 5 stars you have on the outside. It doesn't matter who's at quarterback. It doesn't matter who's at running back. If you don't have the guys up front that can pave the way, because again, the more football changes, it still comes down to if you can line up and whip the man across from you and move him where you want him to go, you're going to win a lot of games. And Shane Beamer obviously understands that by what he's doing on the recruiting trail. So, I love to see it. Honestly, I love to see us picking up these guys because we need them. I mean, you look, there's a chance, guys, you might start 2 freshmen on the line next year. Just because of the reality of who you got coming back, who you're losing, the guys you're picking up in recruiting. And you don't want to start freshmen on the offensive line, but you get a guy like a Marquis Anderson. It's like, come on, young fella. We need you. And you look at the size of these guys. They're already 315 in high school. Like, they're ready. A lot of them are ready. Get them in spring ball. They'll be ready. So, yeah. We all get caught up in the Jaheim Bells of the world and the Josh Vans and the Wells and the Rattlers and the Jujus. But if you don't have them guys up front, it don't mean jack shit, really. It just don't mean jack. It doesn't. And I know my guy Travie, we talk about it all the time, man, stopping the run, having the guys up front. You look at Carolina 10-13. Especially on the defensive side. Guys, when I rank my top 5 defensive linemen of all time, 3 of them played in that era. Like, there's no secret. There's no surprise why those defenses were the best in school history. There's no surprise why those teams were the best in school history. There's no surprise why. When you got those kind of guys up front, I mean, heck, we had Kelsey Quarles on last week. You got those kind of guys up front, you're going to win a lot of ball games. So, I'll tell you, again, it's just been really interesting to hear the comments from Shane Beamer, and we will discuss and dissect this. And I just got a text from my merch guy. Towels will be ready Wednesday. Let's go. We will have the towels on hand at downtown Greenville and for the rest of our events and tailgates and everything else. Thank God. I'm really sorry to my Myrtle Beach folks. For anybody, I'll say this. I'll put this out there. I think I told some of you, anybody who was at the Myrtle Beach Ale House event and you were not able to get towels on hand, whenever you go and order, please shoot me a DM and I will take the shipping and handling off of your order. Because if you came out, you deserve to not have to pay shipping and handling because you did what you needed to do. You came out in person. It is the least I can do. Everybody else, I'm not doing that. But for the Myrtle Beach folks specifically, please let me know. I would love to get you your towels, and I will take that shipping and handling off for you because you deserve it if you came out to the event. We didn't have the towels. Hey, that's on us. We messed up, but we will have them moving forward. Either way, though, I'm really excited to begin, guys, the position unit preview series. That will begin. You know, we talked Mizzou today. We got Vandy, the opponent preview series. Got Vandy on the show Wednesday. We've got, what's after that? Florida on the show Friday. Then next week, we got Tennessee Monday, Clemson Wednesday. So next Friday, we begin the position unit preview series. And when we talk defensive line, I'll bring this point up yet again. So I'll wait for that point to hammer it down. But Shane Beamer has said a lot this preseason that the defensive tackles are the strength of the defense and might be the best position unit on the football team. Let me just say this. If that's the case, this run defense takes a massive step forward this year. If that's the case, the run defense will be exponentially better than it was a season ago. There's no excuse, right? The last thing we want, I'm not trying to label Beamer as this. I'm certainly not, obviously. Hey, big Beamer guy, right? The last thing, though, and I think we got so, did we not? Y'all, I know y'all going to feel me when I say this. We got so exhausted with the Muschamp era when we heard year after year after year going into the season, this is the best group we've had. You know, this is the strongest group we've had up front. This is the most depth we've had. And it never came to fruition. So all I'm saying is this, right? I know it's talking season. I know guys have got to go out there and play and do that. But if you're going to sit there and preach all preseason about the defensive tackles are the strength of our team, they're super deep, and we got talent on top, you better be better stopping the run. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you should be like the best in the SEC, but you can't be as bad as you were last year. If your D tackles are really that good, you ought to make a huge jump, in my opinion. So, I mean, listen, guys, I know we all love seeing top 10 in pass defense. I don't want to see that again. I don't want to see us be top 10 in pass defense because, again, as Brad Lawing said, when you're top 10 in pass defense, all it means is you can't stop the run because teams want to run the football. And if they can run the football with success, they're not going to throw, right? Guess what, guys? Arkansas is not going to throw unless they have to. That's it. If we can't stop the run against Arkansas, guess what? They're not going to throw it. Why would they? Makes no sense. Teams want to establish the run. They want to establish the run, bottom line. Because if you can establish the run, opens up everything else. Everything else. Speaking of Arkansas, guys, the season simulation series continues tonight. We will simulate that game against the Arkansas Razorbacks tonight, 7 o'clock. By the way, those who are tuned in, I know many of you tuned in on Facebook. The season simulation series is taking place only on YouTube. So if you were wondering where it was, it's only happening on YouTube, and there's a reason for that. Streamlabs, like everything else, right? Prices going up. Inflation's hit us all. Streamlabs is now charging to stream across multiple platforms. And I'm not paying that. I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it, bottom line. So we will be exclusively streaming these on YouTube. So if you want to watch live, if you want to go back and watch the replay, they're on YouTube. Let's jump to the phone lines here.
Call from
Savage.
to accept.
And he hung up. Okay. Savage, if you want to call back in, I don't know what just happened. I did not hang up on you, but I don't know what just happened there. Either way, yeah, so the season simulation series, we got Arkansas tonight at 7. We got Georgia tomorrow night at 7. And then we will resume next week, again, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday at 7 o'clock each of those nights. Full schedules on social media. But those are a lot of fun. I'll tell you this. You got to just hate fun to hate on those. You do. You got to hate fun to hate on those. Those are a blast. Those are truly a blast. So, anyways, guys, I want to hear from you. Questions, comments, calls. 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Let's see. Isn't it crazy to think? Isn't it crazy to think? South Carolina has not beaten. South Carolina has not beaten Missouri since the monsoon game back in 2018. And listen, I would ask you all this, because I've said it multiple times. It's the most important game of the season. Am I putting too much emphasis on it? Am I putting too much emphasis on the Mizzou game? I don't think I am. I don't think I am. When you look at it the way that I'm about to phrase it, I don't think I am. My guy Jay in the chat, what's up, Justin? What's going on, man? Appreciate you tuning in. I don't know if my guy's chopping onions or in the cave knocking out schoolwork, but either way, my barber is on YouTube right now. My barber, and who I obviously, if you look at my hair, I have not seen in quite a while. I think we're just letting it go though. The old. It's not really a rooster cut, but for some reason, I think the more I talk about Gamecocks, the more I look like a rooster. I don't know. Either way, Jeff Gullidge, I hope we don't play like we did in the fourth against Arkansas, like we did last night against Georgia State. Yeah, that was not good. Not good. Dustin, appreciate your order of the Beamer Ball hat, man. Merch is flying right now. I mean, when I say we had a record-setting July, that is putting it extremely lightly. We had a crazy month in July, so thank y'all. Anyways, back to the Mizzou game, though. I think it's the most important game when you look at it from this standpoint. If you beat Mizzou, it doesn't mean you're going to win 10 games this year, right? That doesn't mean you're going to overachieve and you had a crazy – that's not what that means. But it is a game that if you lose, it really derails your season. That's how losing to Arkansas doesn't derail your season. Losing to Georgia obviously doesn't derail your season. Losing to Kentucky doesn't derail your season. Losing to A&M doesn't derail your season. You lose to Mizzou at home. I mean, guys, I'll go out on a limb and say right now, I don't care who you beat. If you lose to Mizzou, if you just told me right now the result of the Missouri game, I'll tell you whether Carolina had a good season or not. You beat Mizzou, doesn't guarantee a great year. But if you lose to Mizzou, I think it guarantees a poor year. You're not a very good football team if you lose to Missouri. You're just not. You're just not. I mean, you guys, it got lost in the shuffle last year. It got lost in the shuffle because it was sandwiched in between two great wins, right? Florida and Auburn. I mean, the Gamecocks almost blew their season last year in Como. I think it was the most inexcusable loss of the 2021 season. You're talking about a Mizzou team, guys. You look back at the stats. Mizzou gave up 227 yards per game on the ground. They had the worst rush defense in the SEC. Carolina ran for 56 yards? One of the more baffling performances of the season. Missouri was not a good team last year. God forbid they lost to Army in their bowl game. They were not a good team. And Carolina still just somehow found a way. And it's like there are a lot of streaks to break this season, right? There are a lot of trends that need to be reversed. Like the fact South Carolina has lost 3 straight to Mizzou is just, it's weird. Like it's hard to wrap your head around. It's hard to wrap my brain around. You know what I mean? So, hey, I look at this game just like I looked at East Carolina last year. And so many people bought, Chris, there's no way. That Kentucky game, that's the most important game. The same thing's happening this year. Chris, no way. That Arkansas game, that's the most important game of the season. No, it's the greatest swing game of the season. But we could still win 8 games and lose to Arkansas. Hell, I've picked it. We could still go 8-4 and lose to Arkansas. But my friends, you lose to Missouri, just forget it. Your season's pretty much down the tube. You're talking about a Gamecocks team that will probably have lost back-to-back games. No, excuse me, 3 straight, because if you don't beat Mizzou, you ain't beating Kentucky, you ain't beating A&M. So you'll have lost 3 straight going into Vanderbilt. Lose to Mizzou, you're fighting to get to 6 wins. You might go 5-7. You might go 5-7 if you lose to Missouri. So, most important game for me. Most important game. It's not even close. It is the biggest must-win game of the season. Doesn't guarantee a 9 or 10 win year, but a loss all but guarantees failure in year 2 of Beamer. And I hate to say that. I hate to be so harsh, but nobody'd call 5-7 a success. Nobody would. So, that Mizzou game, it's big. It is very big. Guys, okay, we're going to go ahead and jump into another quick break, but I want to continue to hear from you. More of your questions, your comments, your calls, and more on the other side. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back. Taking your questions, comments, calls, 843-790-3377. Hey, I have got to make a correction really quick, by the way. I'm not perfect, obviously. I mess up a lot of the time. I have been saying for the longest time, for whatever reason, that Woodruff Road in Greenville, our TSUS tour stop at the Ale House location, that Woodruff Road was the 18th and that Augusta was the 25th. It's flipped. Guys, I really do apologize, and I will make sure I correct all those who I've told. We are at Woodruff Road the 25th. We are at Augusta the 18th. Again, just refer to the schedule that is on social media. I apologize. I somehow got those completely twisted. I got those completely twisted. So I really do apologize, guys. Here, let me pull up and make sure I'm not telling you guys something wrong. Okay, here we go. Yep. We've got downtown Greenville this week, of course. We got Fort Mill next week. That's correct. Augusta is the 18th, and then Woodruff Road is the 25th. So, again, guys, I really apologize for that. I messed that up on my end. I've probably confused a lot of you. Just stay tuned to the weekly updates. You guys will know exactly where we're going to be. But, again, the 18th, we are in Augusta, and the 25th, we're back here in Greenville at the Woodruff Road location. And that Tuesday, August the 30th, we are at Harbison in Columbia, South Carolina. So, again, the full schedule is on social media. I do apologize again for getting my dates confused. I'm glad we caught it, though, before, like, the week of, for example. Do work, son. Love the name. He says, having a 3-game losing streak to Mizzou is embarrassing. I think losing to Kentucky is just as bad. I think losing to Mizzou is worse. Kentucky's actually been good. They've won 4 straight bowl games. They won 10 games last year. Mizzou ain't been worth a damn. I mean, that really, truly, Mizzou hadn't been worth a damn. They lose Connor Bazelak, their quarterback. They've got some skill guys on the outside that are solid, but they return 8 guys on what was the worst defense in the SEC last year. I mean, that's a game at home South Carolina should win. I mean, most fans I talk to are just kicking Mizzou in as a dub. Just kicking it right in there like Cristiano Ronaldo. Just kicking that thing in there as a dub. I don't think you can do that yet. You've lost 3 in a row to them. You lost 3 in a row. Justin said, my guy Jay, score predictions for the stream tonight against Arkansas. I think Arkansas beats us, I'll say 27-17. I don't know. It's a game, dude. You saw it, Justin. You saw it last night. It's crazy. But you never know. That's the beauty. I can't wait because, bro, in case y'all missed it, we beat Georgia State last night by 3 points. And you know what I love about those simulations? People get pissed at me like I'm playing. And I'm like, it's literally the computer. I'm not even touching anything. It's the computer. Blame the computer if you want to blame somebody, right? But that's why I do them, because they're fun. They're fun. They're stupid. It's literally August 1st, guys. It's great time, great way to kill time in the preseason. We're all hyped, ready for football. Let's see what the digital Gamecocks do, right? Yeah. I mean, Jay, we watched it last night. You got quarterback scrambling. You got a safety just standing there like this, just like, just watching him run by. Like, come on, that's not going to happen in real life. But it's a video game. It's the point. Here we go. Cody says, worst case scenario is 5 wins. Best case is 8 wins. 9 wins might be pushing it, so I'm being conservative with 8 wins. You're being conservative with 8-4. Okay. I'll say this. Yeah, I think, Cody, I agree with you. Sounds like you listened to the podcast, my guy. No, I agree with you. I think a realistic best case scenario is 8-4. I know that will irritate probably some of the folks that have predicted Carolina to go 9-3. Not even just listed as the best case. They have predicted Carolina to go 9-3. I think realistically, the best case is 8-4. I think anything above 8 wins just doesn't feel like it's really in the realm of possibility. Because what you're saying is this, guys. If you're listing what we feel like are going to be typical, the losses, the easy just losses on this schedule, which are Georgia, A&M, and Clemson. So you're telling me Carolina's going to win it. Every swing game they have. Every single one of them. Like, come on. That to me, That feels aggressive. I'm not saying it's impossible. I just don't know that it's a realistic best case scenario. I mean, you're telling me Carolina's going to beat. So you're telling me Carolina's going to beat Arkansas. They're going to beat Kentucky. They're going to beat Mizzou. They're going to beat Vandy. They're going to beat Florida. And they're going to beat Tennessee. That just seems like a lot. that just seems like a lot. You know, that seems like a lot to me. I don't see any way Carolina wins all them games I just mentioned. Do work since I stand by my 10-2 prediction. God bless you. Tip my cap. Do work, son, from your lips to God's ears. I hope it happens. Cody says the computer doesn't like the Gamecocks. I hear you. Let's see. We got a resident Tennessee fan up in here, Cody Branch. Georgia State isn't as bad of a team as people make them out to be. When they actually listen to their coaches, they can beat big-time schools easily. When they actually listen to their coaches. Okay. All right, fair enough. No, I think it's going to be a great game week one. Now, do I think it's going to be as close as the simulation put it, a 3-point game? No, I do not. I think South Carolina, I've already dropped my predictions for the season, and those can change, by the way. That's not like I'm not set in stone. I can change my score predictions as we go through the year. But I feel pretty confident of a 34-14 game. I think maybe 34-17. I think Georgia State is going to play Carolina tough early. I think Georgia State's a team that the Gamecocks and this fan base need to take seriously. There's a reason Carolina's only an 11-point favorite or so. Again, it's a game we all need to take seriously, but I just think in the second half of that game, South Carolina's just got more athletes than Georgia State. Like, how is Georgia State going to account for the amount of athletes the Gamecocks have? And it does come down to line of scrimmage. And so I think it'll be a test. I think it'll be a challenge. You got two Doak Walker watch list guys in the backfield, and Terrence Gregg and Jamiest Williams, who we're all very familiar with. They ran for 226 yards per game last year, and that's going to be the challenge, right? We're going to learn a lot about that Gamecocks run defense in week one, right? We're going to learn a lot about that run defense. But I just think Carolina will have enough to pull away. I do. I think Carolina will have enough to pull away. I'm certainly not one of those out there that I'm seeing some people saying like 42-10, and I'm like, dude, this isn't EIU. We're not just going to beat them like a drum up and down the field. I mean, I hope we do. God, I hope you're right. But more realistically, most likely, I think it's a close game, closer at least early. And then as the game progresses, I think South Carolina will have enough to pull away. So, but yeah, so I think it'll be a fun ball game. I really do. I think it'll be, and I'm excited for it. I'm glad. I think EIU was the perfect opener for game one of the Shane Beamer era, but that was a snoozer, man. That was a put you to sleep kind of ball game. I just, I'm glad to see we're going to play somebody that has somewhat of a pulse, and we'll kind of get an idea about this football team from week one. We can say don't draw conclusions from week one till you're blue in the face, but that's exactly what we're all going to do. Andrew the Textbook says, hot take, I think South Carolina wins 56-21. Though I think South Carolina will only be up 21-14 at halftime. 56 points in week one. Okay, all right. 56 points in week one. I'd love to see it. I'm trying to keep expectations conservative for week one, though. I just, are we going to be clicking on all cylinders and a well-oiled machine? 56, my man. That is. I don't know. I just don't think Sean Elliott is going to allow his football team to get beat in that manner. I don't see it happening. And I'll tell you this too. Andrew the Textbook. I think there's probably a mutual respect on both sides. I know there is. Beamer obviously and Elliott worked together at USC. I don't think they're going to make it any sort of point like run the score up or anything like that. Like Georgia State's not, and to Brandon Wagner's point, Georgia State is not hot garbage. They're a solid team. Again, they're not on the level of South Carolina, but in a week one where you're sort of again trying to figure yourself out, I don't see, you know, I don't see that type of offensive output. AJ Bowers says, I just don't see them slowing down this offense with the talent we have. Final 35-10. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. No, AJ, I think that's a fair score prediction. No, I think we can score between 30 and 40. 56 points, though, that's absurd. I mean, that's just we didn't score 56 on EIU, and that team didn't have a pulse. So that team didn't have a pulse. So I don't know. Anyways, guys, we'd love to have you call in. Phone lines are wide open. 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. How about this? Former Gamecocks catcher Colin Burgess has signed with the Tigers. How about that? A free agent deal, I believe. So, how about that? Dude said he was just done with college baseball. John Rice says Rattler will throw the ball 3 times in the second half. Gamecocks are up 35-7 at halftime and will win 49-21. John, are you on the lattes right now? That is a very on the latte pick, as Lance Player would say. There's off the lattes and on the lattes, my friend. That is a very on the latte pick. Gamecocks up 35-7. You know what I love about John Rice, by the way? I know John won't mind me saying this. John is the type of fan that he has a toxic relationship with Carolina football. Very toxic. The type of toxic in the sense of he will text people mid-game in a game we're losing, like, I'm done with Carolina. I'm done with USC. I'm giving up my tickets. I'm never coming back. Yet he comes back every single week. He comes back every single week. And I know he won't mind me saying that. And he knows he'll come back. He knows he will. He knows he will. He's never going to go anywhere. But sometimes he needs to vent and get it out. Sometimes he'll blow up his family group chat with outrageous claims and outrageous statements. Thanks to the lattes in part. And we've all been there indeed, John. We've all been there indeed. Lance Player on the yeah. Just live life on the lattes, my guy. Life's too short to live off lattes. To live off the lattes. Life's too short. Just live on the lattes. That's it. Just live on the lattes. Garrett H. says, instead of predicting the score, we should be predicting if we will see the backups. I mean, certainly, Garrett, I think it's a game where you'd ideally like to see Tanner Bailey, Braden Davis, Luke Doty, those guys. You would like to see those guys. I think obviously Georgia State, SC State, and Charlotte, those non-conference games serve as opportunities to get these young guys some playing time, right? You've got some talented freshmen. You got a lot of talented freshmen you'd like to get on the field, right? So I think certainly it'll serve as an opportunity. We'll see if it works out, but yeah. So again, my prediction that I dropped a couple weeks ago, I've got 34-14. I'd be satisfied with that. We've talked a lot about what's the margin of victory you need to see. You win by 17 or more. Like, guys, I'm just not going to overreact to week one way or the other, right? Like, I mean, just because you beat Georgia State by 30. I mean, I think that'd be a good sign, right? But if you beat them by 14 versus 21, like, does it matter, right? A lot of it matters, like, how the game goes. But I'm going to try to not overreact to week one, right? AJ Bowers doesn't think we'll see Bailey and Davis into the SC State and Charlotte games. That's fair. So. Jonathan Lee, what's up, man? What happened? What are you talking about? Cody says his prediction, Gamecocks 35, Georgia State 24. Okay. So you think Georgia State's going to keep it at the spread? Cody's got Georgia State keeping it at the spread. Jonathan Lee, I've been well, man. Appreciate you asking. What's going on? Appreciate you asking, my dude. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, guys, Stephen Garcia did join the show a little bit earlier. If you missed that conversation, you can go back, check it out. Also, we will have clips via social media. I'll be dropping those a little bit later, probably right after TDC, actually, to be honest with you. So, also, I'm very excited to announce the Daily Crow coming to you all in podcast form very, very soon. For those of you who either tune in late or can't tune in live to TDC, the show will now be available as a podcast. Again, y'all let me know. What do you think about that idea? Great idea? Terrible idea? What do y'all think about that idea? I think it provides a lot of value for folks to go back and listen to things maybe you missed. It's, again, I love people tuning in live, and I still encourage you to do so because in that way you can leave comments, you can call in, you can engage. But again, I just know there's a lot of folks that want to hear the content and tune the show, and they can't necessarily do it. So let's start with the lines here. I don't know what just happened there. Call back in, my guy. I don't know what just happened there. Anyways, all right, cool. Anyways. I think sometimes people call me and they don't realize we're live. Like they don't realize somehow they don't realize I'm doing a show. Hunter Johnson, why does everybody think we're going to beat Georgia State like we did at EIU? I don't see it being that big of a beatdown. 3 scores is fair. 3 scores is extremely fair. 3 scores is extremely fair. And I'd sign up for a 3-touchdown victory right now. Right now. Right now, I'd sign up for it. Yep. That's a great win week 1. Dude, Vegas only has you as an 11-point favorite. Like covering the spread, 3-touchdown victory, I'd take that in a heartbeat. I think too, I think setting these expectations of scoring 40, 50 points, and dude, I think you're just setting yourself up for heartache because it is week 1. It's week 1, guys. You never know how things are going to go. I know we're not going to be satisfied just saying, oh, well, a dub's a dub's a dub. Just, it don't matter if we win by 3 points, but like the style points in week 1, I just don't know how important they really are. Yeah, so. Patrick Cash, here's a great question. What happens with Joyner this year? Does he see the field as a quarterback, in your opinion? Does he bring something the others don't? I don't think, Patrick, he sees the field as a quarterback in the sense of like he's taking over for Rattler or something. I think he could have his own package where, he comes in and they do some different things, some trickeration, if you will, or just a change of pace. I don't think it's a situation, though, where like, hey, Rattler's struggling. We got to try something different. Like, I think he could be a good change of pace guy, almost like a Wildcat type deal, the Wildcock formation, whatever. I don't think you just see him. I mean, listen, and I will, I know our guy, our resident Big Cock Club Joyner defender, Luke RJ, argues about this all the time. Guys, you can say whatever you want about Dak Joyner. Glad he's a Gamecock. Love what he did in the bowl game. I'm excited to see how they use him in the offense this year. But if Dak Joyner was a quarterback, he'd be working out at quarterback. Guys, the staff thinks so highly of him at the quarterback position. He's a receiver. He works out at wide receiver. He doesn't even work out at quarterback. So there's still some people with like this crazy conspiracy theory type mentality that think Dak Joyner should be our starting quarterback. And it's just like, I think he has value. This man showed in the bowl game, he has value. He's got immense value under center. There's no doubt. The man has immense value, but it's not as a starting quarterback. So I think you will. I think at some point, yes, you will see him in some change of pace type packages, some change of pace type situations. But do you see him for any sustained period of time take over? And I don't think so. It's the Spencer Rattler show. Again, guys, we've talked about it a lot. You can talk about Jaheim Bell and Wells and Stogg and all these guys. We will go as far as 7 takes us. And you know what? If that pressure's unfair, so be it. It's a quarterback-driven game. There's a reason why these quarterbacks in the NFL are getting the money they are. There's a reason why NFL teams do everything they can to find their franchise quarterback, because it's a quarterback-driven game. If you don't have a quarterback, guys, you do not have a chance. If I've said that once, I've said that a million times. We'll go as far as 7. This is his season. This is his team. This is his season. Right now, this is his program. We're going to go as far as he takes us this year. If 7 plays well, we got a really, really good shot to win 7 or 8, maybe, God forbid, no more games. If 7 has an average to below average year, we will have an average to below average year. We'll go as far as he takes us. That's it. Bottom line. Okay, let's go ahead, guys. We'll jump into one final break. But I want to continue to hear from you. More of your questions, comments, calls, and more on the other side. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back. Final 10 minutes or so here on the Daily Crow. We are taking your questions, your comments, your calls, 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Let's see. Jeff Gullidge says, I can understand all the excitement and people picking a blowout the first game against Georgia State. Spencer's 15-0 as a starter. We've added a lot to our team coming off the big win against UNC, but I would just love for us to get up big early and get the backup reps in the second half. Even that means we only win by 3. Okay, at least the starters showed out and backups got working, and we still got the W. Well, Jeff, I'd like to win by more than 3. Listen. I'll say this. I'll say this. I would, as I've told you before, I'd much rather have to say, hey, let's keep it in perspective than have to like hype people up for the season. So listen, you should be excited. I'm excited. You should be excited. Listen, you're a fan of the Gamecocks. You should be excited. Not because anything I say is because anything somebody on social media said. Look at what Beamer and company are doing. Look at the on-field results. You should be excited. Bottom line. I'm just saying you can be excited and also say to yourself, probably not going to score 50 week 1 against Georgia State. I think that's fair. But yes, you should be excited. Let's see. Well, since we're in the last 10 minutes or so, we'll go ahead and get this cat out of the bag. Yeah, Rebecca's on probation. Yeah, Rebecca's suspended for the time being. And it's all love to Rebecca. But, we have limited time slots and limited time and limited callers we can take. And I got to make decisions that are best for the future of this show and for this business as a whole. And all I ask, listen, you can call in and talk about anything you like. But when you call in on a daily basis and you don't talk Gamecocks in any of those conversations, it's hard for me to justify having you on the airwaves. I got to be honest, especially when I have people reaching out to me complaining. It's tough. It's tough for me to justify. So I'll tell you this, Rebecca's days of calling in, they're not over forever. They're not. I think a dose of Rebecca a week would do us all some good and would keeps me loose. It keeps me laughing, keeps a smile on my face. It truly does. But Rebecca, yes, you are on probation currently, and that is where we still stand. So I am the commissioner here. I am Alpha. I am Omega. I am the business comma man, and that is what I say. You were on probation. So that's it. Bottom line. Rebecca, never forget, this is my show, not yours. Never forget that. And that's to everybody else as well. So anyways, that's where we stand. Let's just go ahead and get that cat out of the bag. And I've never had to suspend a caller before, but that is the latest news. I feel like you guys probably picked up on that last week. We only had 3 Daily Crows. So maybe you didn't pick up on that. But yes, right now, Rebecca's in timeout. She is suspended. And, it is what it is. It is what it is. So, and that's okay. We love Rebecca. I encouraged Rebecca to continue to comment. But as far as calls, as we get into the season, those time slots and that airspace, I should say, is extremely valuable. Justin, I saw your text, Justin, about Rebecca trying to call in. I saw it. I'm very aware. I'm the one that blocked the number. I'm very aware of it. So it's not a forever thing. Maybe you know what I'd like to do? And Rebecca, we can talk about this off the air. I want you to call in once a week. Once a week, I'd like you to call in because I think it's, again, good for all of us. We need to hear from you. Every day is where you start to lose me. So you pick a day. What day is best for you to call in? We'll have you once a week. That might not start this week, but at some point, I'll get to that point where I want that. But, again, we'll get the cat out of the bag. Hey, I was just going to Let's just take care of it behind the scenes. No need to make a deal of it. But since Rebecca wants to make a deal of it in the comments, we'll make a deal of it. Yeah. I blocked her number and we put Rebecca in probation and timeout. And that's the decision we made moving forward. And it's, again, because the airspace in the Daily Crow is valuable. This is not chit-chat hour for you to talk about your personal life and your personal problems and all that, right? I mean, you can talk about whatever you want, but you better keep it entertaining. And at some point, when you're beating a dead horse and my audience starts to lose interest in it, that's where I have a problem. It's all business and ain't nothing personal. It's all business and ain't nothing personal. That's it. Never forget that. It is never, ever, ever, ever personal. But it's all business. That's it. It's all love to you, too. I got nothing but love for you, Rebecca, and everybody else that calls in. But that goes for everybody else. That goes for everybody else. You know, I'm different than a lot of shows. Listen, I take a lot of calls. Listen, I take a lot of calls that I've been a lot of the shows wouldn't even take. And I always want to allow folks to call in. But at some point, Rebecca, this show belongs to the audience. This show's not really even mine. This show is y'all's. This show is y'all's. So if my Big Cock Club folks in the audience was saying, we need more Rebecca, hell, I'd make a Rebecca segment if it meant it was good for the show and in turn good for business. But that's not what they're saying. Anyways, Rebecca, you wanted to bring it up in conversation over and over and over and over. So, hey, I'm not going to avoid your comments any longer. We'll bring it up. And it's all love to Rebecca. We've talked behind the scenes. It's all good. It's all love. You ever need me, you know how to get in touch. But for the time being and shortly moving forward, a suspension is in place. And that's that. That's that. Hey, some of the greats get suspended. Hey, even Steven Garcia got suspended 5 times. It's all good, Rebecca. It's all good. Even the greats get suspended every now and then. It's fine. It's fine. Anyways, off of that, I hope you don't hate me for it either. But if you do, I guess so be it. So be it. We got to make decisions best for us in the business. So if you can't respect that and rock with that, then I don't know what to tell you. Justin Martin, your Gamecock man cave looking good. Love to hear that. Love to hear that, man. Yeah. Love a good man cave. Love a good man cave. Love to hear that, my guy. Again, guys, be sure to check out the podcast if you have not done so. Episode 683 that dropped this morning. Full breakdown of the weekend, the prospects that South Carolina received commitments from. Also, the opponent preview series continues as we talk. The Missouri Tigers on today's show, the Week 9 opponent. Guys, we're very close, right? Wednesday's show, Vandy. Friday's show, Florida. And then Monday, Wednesday is Tennessee and Clemson. So, and then next Friday, we get into the position unit preview series. Let's see. Also, guys, a lot of people asking about this. That series on ESPNU, the Welcome Home South Carolina football thing, basically like Hard Knocks for the Gamecocks. That begins next Wednesday, not this Wednesday, next Wednesday. Hey, join the Big Cock Club. We will be watching that in the Big Cock Club together. We will be watching that. That's at 7 o'clock every Wednesday night starting next week, and that will run through the week of the Arkansas game. So the week after the Gamecock season opener, it will run for what? That's like a 5-week period, I think. Should be a lot of fun. I can't wait for that. I know we're all excited. I can't wait for that. Going to be a ton of fun. Luke RJ, final thing. He says, I have always just said joiners QB2 if needed. I mean, if they need him, listen, I think he's going to play. I think he's going to play quarterback at some point. I don't think it's going to be in a scenario where, like, oh, he's taking over for Rat. Like, it's going to be a special package. But Luke RJ, I'll say this. Listen, do I think Dak Joyner's a great receiver? No, I do not. But the man has a skill set. The man has athleticism, right? He's got it. So how does Satterfield and this offensive staff utilize him to his fullest ability and get the most out of him? Because he obviously has a skill set. One final call here.
John Edwards.
John Edward, you're right up against it, my guy. What's up?
Yeah. No, I heard you talking about the quote Hard Knocks for Gamecock. I just wanted to say, and I know I'm against the clock here and everything, but I think it says a lot about Shane Beamer that ESPN wants to do something like this.
Yeah, I think it's big time. Dude, I think it's obviously big time. I think it's awesome. Yeah, for sure. I mean, they could have picked any school, right? I would assume. So, no, I think it'll be a great look. It'll be great for recruiting, giving an inside look at the program, all the great stuff going on. So, yeah, I think it's massive, man. I can't wait. I know we're all excited to watch.
Yeah, be definitely. All right. Dude, I cut it close, but I wanted to call in real quick.
No, hey, John Edward, I appreciate it, my man. Always a pleasure to chat with you.
Yeah.
So,
see you, dude.
all right, man. Later. Great stuff. Yeah. I mean, again, I think it just says a lot to what the Gamecocks are building and everything Shane Beamer is doing. 7 o'clock, Cody, next Wednesday. That's when that will start, and it'll be every Wednesday at 7. Guys, we are out of here. Appreciate you all. Appreciate you all tuning in. Check out the podcast if you have not. Stay tuned on the content bleeding out of the eyeballs, folks. Appreciate you all tuning in. Have a great rest of your Monday, and we will talk to you all tomorrow.